Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Phil and Ryan, listen up. And Ryan, this episode, we're going to preview or talk about rather, like, comment, and subscribe, by the way, to our beautiful subs. UConn to compete in basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase tournament, Ryan. This was announced on the 13th, so about 2 days ago. Ryan, according to UConnHuskies.com, the UConn women's basketball team will compete in the 12th annual Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase, which will adopt a tournament-style format on November 21st and 23rd at Mohegan Sun Arena, and as announced by the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame Tuesday, right? So, with that said, UConn will open the tournament versus Utah on the 21st. The Huskies will face either Syracuse or Michigan on the 23rd. So, Rye, again, UConn on the map. And you told me, I think, what? You told me that UConn, not a familiar face, UConn has never played one of these teams before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think this, UConn has played in this Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Showcase now for the last couple seasons, and I like how it allows for UConn to play different out-of-conference teams who they wouldn't normally play. And like you mentioned, it's going to adopt a tournament-style format this season. And last year, of course, UConn beat Iowa State by a little over 30 points, so that was a very nice win for the Huskies, and hopefully this year we get to win both of these games. Of course, UConn's going to face Utah November 21st, a team in which they've never faced before, so that's pretty exciting. And on November 23rd, they're either going to play Syracuse or Michigan, and I guess if UConn and Michigan would both win their games or lose their games, I guess they would both play each other, and Michigan would be a team that UConn has never played before. So possibility of two brand new opponents in the UConn women's basketball history books. But yeah, I mean the tournament's going to be played at Mohegan Sun, which obviously greatly benefits UConn because of close proximity, an overwhelming amount of UConn fans there, and also UConn over the history of playing at Mohegan Sun Arena has only lost one game, so that's a pretty good benefit as well for the Huskies. So with this announcement, the out of conference schedule is slowly coming together. All neutral site games so far. UConn opens a season playing Louisville in the Armed Forces Classic in Germany, so that'll be an exciting way to kick off the season. And UConn is gonna face Iowa in December at the Barclays Center. So a couple exciting announcements so far, but there should be some more during the course of the off season, hopefully that we're gonna be looking forward to.
All right, Ryan. We hope to travel again to see the UConn Huskies this year live in action. Let's go over the comments, Ryan. They came through very well on that last episode, breaking down UConn Huskies rookie class. They like that a lot, Ryan. And Jason D'Amico said, I think it is going to be a pretty intense off season for these Huskies. AZKK and company are going to have their hands full for sure, but it will be fun to watch them grow. Peace. And again, Ryan, I don't want to keep talking about Paige, although very respectful that we do, because obviously one of the greats to ever step foot in there. But how many times did we see over and over again her take over games over and over again in the regular season, and then when it mattered even more in the postseason, and you're just not going to get that anymore. So I'm curious. They have the pieces, no doubt. We understand that, but I'm curious what it's going to look like, right? What it's going to look like now.
Yeah, I think everybody has a similar question going into the season, but I think, these players have been playing together for a couple years now. AZ Flood, I think, is more than capable of leading this team in a similar way that Paige Beckers did. And of course, we're all expecting, I think, Ashlyn Shade and KK Arnold to have spectacular, even more of a breakout season for both of them in their upcoming junior year this season. And of course, with Sarah Strong, she did, I mean, she did just about everything in her freshman year last year. So her sophomore campaign, it's going to be interesting to see how she follows that up. And of course, with Sierra Williams now coming to UConn, it's exciting to get her into the mix. So I think there's a lot of things to look forward to. Definitely some questions, but I don't really think anything really concerning going into the season. But I definitely think UConn, when the time comes in November, I think this team's going to be ready to defend that national championship.
Listen to this. This is why we love a podcast community so much. Savage said, no, the person is wrong. Sarah herself said it's pronounced Sarah, just spelled differently. Mmm. You don't know, it's crazy, right? Life in general, it's the world we live in today. What you do believe and what you don't believe. Ryan,
Yeah.
pour me a glass of liquor.
Yeah, well, it's like I said before with these name pronunciations, it's definitely hard when you're researching because you watch one video and somebody says their name one way and then another video somebody says it a little differently. So it's it's hard sometimes, but that'll definitely help us out if they both say their name Sarah. I think that's a little easier for everybody.
Let's go over to Moore. Say Gandhi Malu Mamal is a 6'6" center, not a forward. Williams, however, is a forward at 6'4".
Yeah, I think with the players nowadays, with them able to adapt into these different positions, it's interesting, I think, in the women's game because you don't really see a lot of players just adapt into a center position. It's usually just guards and forwards marked down as their actual position. You don't really see a center just in the lineup. But I think that speaks to a lot of these players being able to play in multiple positions. Some players, like Sarah Strong, doesn't really have a problem with dribbling the ball up the court. We see a lot of these bigs now, almost all of them can shoot the three ball. So it's no matter what position they are, I think a lot of these players today have the possibility to play 1 through 5 on the court, and that's special to see out of the recruiting, and it makes the games more fun to watch these players step outside of their positions.
How about Lindsay Matthews, Ryan? I love the international aspect of this year's new players. Having lived in a United Nations household, I appreciate diversity. I assume the student body at UConn is diverse as well. Congratulations to the staff for opening up their minds to all of the talent that's out there, no matter where they come from.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's great that the Yukon goes out to these different countries and abroad to find these special talented players. And I does, it obviously makes for a more diverse group and different players from different backgrounds and walks of life. And I think that makes it for a more interesting team. And I think we can kind of see that grow during the season, even during the off season, and when the time comes for the season to start. I think that's why we see this chemistry, so greatly grow throughout the whole season. And these players able to come together no matter where they come from, whether they're from the U.S. or somewhere like Ecuador, or it doesn't matter where they are. I think it's great that everybody's able to build that chemistry on the team, just like we see every year with all the UConn teams.
All right, Rye, how about one more? Let's go over to Gary Sain. He said, guys, thank you so much for this episode. I needed some clarification on the rookie class. The amount of talent on this team is ridiculous. I am as big a Page fan as anyone, but could we be as good or better in 25-26? Well, Gary, you have to tip your hat to Rye on that one. All his bright ideas pay off every time.
Yeah, it's well, like I said about the rookie class, it's going to be hard for these three to kind of run up what the last three did this past season, with Sarah Strong coming in, and of course with KK Arnold and Ashlyn Shade and what they've been able to do for this team. But I think the three that are coming are very talented, and hopefully, like we said, we get to see them a lot more this season. They get some opportunities. So yeah, I think we're just gonna have another stacked roster, and I know everybody's waiting for that opening game and summer workout to see how the team is coming together, and just waiting for that season to start.
All right, as we inch closer and closer, Ryan, I will see you next week for another episode on Listen Up.